over today. We're doing the running backs. Only two running backs were taken in the first round. You had B. John Robinson getting taken by the Falcons, and the Lions getting Jahmyr Gibbs at the pick 12, which was quite shocking at the time of the
Mhm.
draft on Thursday night. So, obviously, both of these guys are worth taking in rookie drafts, but
Yeah.
you guys could discuss each one and obviously let me know where you're comfortable taking them in the rookie draft.
All right. Well, I mean, Bijan Robinson is the clear 101 in every format, in my opinion. Super flex, whatever. I don't care. You could start one running back, and it's still worth taking him 101. So, um, there's nothing else to say. I mean, Bijan Robinson is going to see. He's going to see.
Really?
I mean, there's literally he's going to see 300 plus touches, no problem. The only question is, are the Falcons going to be in a lot of scoring opportunity? So does he have top 5 upside? Probably not, but he is the safest bet to finish running back 6 to running back 15. Like there's no chance he's going to fall outside of that range next year. And then after next year, hopefully, you hope their offense figures it out. Pitts takes a step forward. London takes a step forward. And then they are in scoring opportunities. And then Bijan Robinson's, top 3 running back for the next 3-4 years. And so it's such a difference maker. And the fact that he went top 10 means you hope he slid to the Eagles just because of offensive reasons, but it's still, he's going to see as much opportunity as he can handle. It's just crazy. And then Jahmyr Gibbs at 112, like you said, is a crazy high pick at the time. But then now with Swift being gone, when you reshuffle that running back room, you look at it and you can say, okay, this makes total sense. He's a perfect complement to David Montgomery. I think they're going to work really well in tandem together. This idea that Jahmyr Gibbs is going to get this lion's share, no pun intended, workload and be a 300 plus touch guy like Bijan Robinson, I don't think that is in the realm of possibility. I think Jahmyr Gibbs still is who he is. It's just the Lions really valued that. So that's why they took him at 12. But they're not, that doesn't mean like, oh, they took him at 12 so he becomes this, workhorse 350 touch running back. No, he's still probably 150 carries and 100 targets. That's probably just who he is, which is fine. That works great with David Montgomery, who's probably 200 carries and 50 targets. So they complement each other perfectly, and they're going to work out and be, again, Lions, I think, are going to be a sneaky good offense this year.
Okay. Where would you take Gibbs in a rookie draft? Like,
That's
say, like
a great question.
after
So
five.
this is all. So 101 is clearly Bijan, and then situationally, I'm assuming let's talk one quarterback, because when you get into super flex, then it's totally different. It's crazy. So one quarterback, you're assuming then, do you need running back or wide receiver? Because it's either JSN or Jahmyr Gibbs, and I would still, based on positional value of running backs, I would still take Jahmyr Gibbs at 102. I think it's just because when running backs do hit, say he does become Alvin Kamara, I mean, that is such a difference maker and it helps. So whereas, JSN, again, JSN could become Amon-Ra St. Brown, and you're like, yeah, it's nice. It's a very good piece. It's helpful, but there's 20 wide receiver guys who could potentially be wide receiver ones year in, year out. So it's just, I think the running back is more, and has more trade value as well. So I would probably take Gibbs at 102. And then you start getting into the slew of wide receivers that you have to pick from.
Interesting. Coach Steve, what's your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I think John said it best. There's not much to say about BJ Robinson. We wish he went to maybe a little bit of a more high power offense situation, but obviously he went to a high run efficiency offense in the Atlanta Falcons that, a fifth round pick in Tyler Algier ran for 1,000 yards. Imagine what a first round pick with his talent can do this coming season here. So he's the confirmed 101, no matter what format you're in. He should be the first pick taken off any draft boards. Pretty easy. Again, wish he went to a different situation, but obviously the betting odds were that he was supposed to go to Atlanta, and he ended up going to Atlanta. So I hope you made that bet. On the other side, Jahmyr Gibbs, definitely a shocking pick here. Obviously, it's less shocking now, obviously, with DeAndre Swift out of town. But he should have somewhat of a similar role to what DeAndre Swift had in Detroit, with a little bit more of a running opportunity. Obviously, we know that Swift wasn't used as much due to his injury history. I think Gibbs will be used a little bit more of a 50-50 split with Dave Montgomery early on. again, I didn't care for the pick at the time, but it's still a good pick now, obviously. He's probably the 105, 106 in Superflex leagues, depending on what you want, either him or Jackson Smith and Jigba. At that time, that's how I feel about it. He's probably the 102, 103 in one QB leagues at this point. But I don't think he's someone you should expect to be a big touch guy where he's going to see just massive workloads week in and week out. I think he's going to end up having some boom weeks, some kind of lower weeks. It just depends on how frequently they want to use him in the passing offense. That's going to be his big ticket for us in fantasy. And again, take him 102, 103, but we've learned that even if you take a player at 102, he might not be safe the next season. So just be careful of that, obviously, nowadays. We'll talk about that in like 30 seconds here, but definitely two picks that are going to be worth taking.
So, like, here's a perfect example. DeAndre Swift in 2021, when he was healthy and playing well and everyone loved him, had 151 carries and 87 targets. So that is absolutely what Jahmyr Gibbs could do. No problem. Like, he could walk into 160 carries and 80 targets tomorrow. Like, that's easy. So you're hoping that's what he gets plus upside. So I think I love him. I would take him if he's going to slide to you.
Only concern is that they didn't have the wide receiver core that they have now 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That's my only issue. So I don't know how frequently they're going to use him in that same capacity.
Yeah.
But no, I get it though.
Interesting. Nice. No, that's fair. That's a fair point. And Jared Goff notoriously doesn't love to really throw to his running